Boom.
Last time on Tree of Ravens. Wait, hold on, it's a different show. God, so we're... You know what? I would like Team Cart and Team Nyphix. One person from each, roll initiative, Owlbear's up.
Okay, I've been trying to log into it, so...
And by roll initiative, I mean just throw me a d20 out there.
Alright. If it would allow me, but I can't fully load in if you guys would like to, if you're there.
That's going to be a hard beat.
You know you don't want threes from me anyway.
All right, so... Where we last left Nyphix. Nyphix, you had arrived at the port of Torlay and told the group that you would be with them in a bit. You'll meet them at the Hole-in-the-Wall Tavern to try and go over the next plan, the next stages, the next thing. Feeling upset about how the ship encounter went, you broke into a store, got a couple potions and a couple scrolls, and dropped them off with the doorman at the front of the door for the hole-in-the-wall to give to your party, along with an accompanying note. You then flew off to make your way back to Belfont, where this all started. On the way back to Belfont, you ran across a wagon, a couple of wagons, in Exodus from Torlay, trying to escape the worm tragedy, the wormy threat. And in the process of, you had found one of the caravans was carrying a wormy passenger. You dove to the rescue, saved a little girl's life, and kicked that woman off the wagon, much to the chagrin or the happiness of the people on the wagon. And once she was outside of eyes and earshot, you slew her in the woods, protecting her from herself. Digging a shallow grave, mayhap saying a prayer, you made your way back off to Belfont and found yourself 2 days away ahead of the rest of the group, given how pathways condense. And in technicality, you guys are like 7 days apart currently, just because of storyline preferences. But timey-wimey bullshit, I got this. Arriving back at Belfont, you found yourselves down to the way and the lay of the street corners, trying to dip through the alleyways, where you ran across a familiar and friendly to him face of Neil. And as he had entreated you back, saying, "Welcome back home, Nyphix. You've been gone for a while. Have you come to reconsider my offer? Would you like to be gifted for a third time?" You had spoken to him that any third gift that he gives to you would be more of a curse than anything else. And you'll be dead and in the ground before you even think about extending his offer. At which point he looked at you and was like, "Well, you'll be interested when you find all the magical things that it could do for you. All the things it can benefit, the ones it can help. But the next time, I want you to beg." And he walked away with that cryptic bit of information. You went back to the Tree of Ravens, saw the cross where Vickers was hanging, no longer there, and placed Vickers' necklace on it, casting light to illuminate and, I guess, show someone's home as well as show the beacon of hope. You wandered into the Tree of Ravens, opened the door behind you to see that somebody's been now taking the bodies out slowly and trying to give them burials, whether proper or not, we do not know. But upon taking in the smell of burnt corpse, the appeal, or lack thereof, of broken, cindered roofs caved in, and most of everything turned to ash, the door opened behind you, and in that doorway was Captain Vickers, asking you where everybody else was and what happened here. Grave dirt is on his body. He looks worse for wear, and you do see the scar and blood under his armor from where Malik stabbed him. Nyphix, what do you do?
I'm pretty certain the detect magic that I had before is most likely worn off. So that's going to be my first thing, is to reinitiate my detect magic.
Okay. Detect magic is verbal and somatic, so Captain Vickers, Andrew, you will see as she begins casting the spell and her eyes take on a sheen. She is casting detect magic. And the first thing that you notice, Nyphix, there are no worms.
You don't trust it's me?
I'm sorry to say, but I don't. Been however many days since we saw you last.
It's been that long.
In game, it's been about a month and a half.
I mean, you were dead. I mean, a month and a half ago? Dead, dying?
Yeah, I do remember. I remember Tysman coming in before I fully fell into the graces of the Raven's wings. I remember.
Where were you before you walked in these doors?
It was all kind of a blur, really. I remember... I remember holding Eelix in my hands. I remember the crimson dropping from me as I fell onto the steps. Every time I blinked, I fought against the dirt. There was a moment I remember, and I reach up at my neck. You pulled something from me before you flew off. And from that point on, I fought against more dirt, and I saw the sky brighter than it used to be. It definitely wasn't 6 feet under. Definitely not the burial I wished for. But there were tears in your eyes. I remember the most. But you're alive. And that's all that matters. What about the others?
Last that I left them, they were. That's the best answer that I have for you.
You left them? What happened?
I came back here to fix our home. I'm sure, as you can see, it's no longer the Tree of Raven.
Andrew's gonna walk around the place a little bit, slow, somber steps as he takes a look at the interior and the environment the way it is now, just colorless, as if just waking up in a bad dream.
Even to the point where you look at what was massively arced roofs of the main gala hall, there are now holes in it where the roof and tile have fallen in. And even the outside skybox is just gray clouds of a storm moving in, slowly rolling across the skyscape.
There's not a lot to fix here. Not at all. I look back to you, Nyphix. What did you hope to fix?
We needed a place to come back to. We've been flying blind this entire time.
I'm truly sorry, my Nestor. I really am. As, well, props to you was your captain. I feel like I should have had you more prepared. I knew a day like this would have come for me. But I didn't. And as he looks at you, Nyphix, from the young Strix you used to be, what would you say is the greatest change so far to you now from then?
Probably not even the loss of him as like the captain, but the loss of like the community of the Ravens itself, because we were one giant family. So I think actually losing that completely is actually the biggest change, the biggest loss in the change.
And that's visible on her.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I forgot to say at the beginning of the session, but Nate, your inspiration point that you got from your story can go for either Vickers or for Karrith, whichever one you choose. Forgot to say that, but I'm pointing it out.
Understood, even though it was embarrassingly off point. I got you.
Everybody on Sunday fucked it up too. No worries.
Got you.
It was when everybody fucks it up, that was my fuck up.
Yeah. Anytime I hear anybody say, I'm going to reward you inspiration, I always think it's game related and not in real life. So.
But
anyway.
As Vickers kind of says, I should have prepared you more. Nyphix is going to look at him and go, there's no way to prepare for this. None.
I wish there was. By the looks of things, the way the beautiful home that we used to have had seen it this way, I understand. Because even I, myself, I feel floored. I dug myself out of a grave for whatever reason. But I'm not going to pass this chance not to teach you something. And at the end of all this, the best preparation I could have given you, that a tree has roots. It's a home. But the tree would have never went with us, ever. Nyphix. There's a reason I call you Nestor. You're one of the ravens that could make a home anywhere.
You say that, but we tried.
I take it, Razzik and Eelix. They're off doing what needs to be done.
Razzik, Eelix, Karrith. We're all that's left.
Karrith?
Karrith.
I can hardly remember him. I know he sparred with you a couple times. I'm sure you taught him what he needed to know. But he was mostly under Malik's wing, that's for sure.
Couldn't even tell you right now. They're the ones that are supposed to, at some point, be coming home.
And Nyphix, during this conversation, taking a look at Vickers, he's not doing that well. He's probably tiptoeing around like 5 hit points tops.
Well, if they're coming home at one point, I don't know if I could advise it to be here. Not like this.
Well, I will say that the whole point is to start building a home. So, considering that I can tell that you're not infected with what's going on, why don't we start with fixing you up before we fix up the tree that's here?
Infected. What happened? Was there an outbreak?
Of sorts. Just say I don't recommend touching anybody of any sort.
A plague, then.
A magical one. A demonic magical one.
Strange.
It's not fun. And I can attest to that.
I kind of grip up in my head a little bit. When did this start? Was it after... It was after I died, wasn't it?
A month and a half ago.
And Nyphix, are you moving over to start healing Captain Vickers?
Yes.
As you maneuver closer to Captain Vickers, he isn't wormed, as I said. However, you do sense a magic running through his muscles. It's not tracking in any of the schools of magic that you're familiar with. But you see this energy almost tethering through his body and swirling. Perhaps it might be what revived him. Whatever is holding him together.
Hmm.
What's wrong? What does your eye see?
Was anybody there when you dug yourself out?
It was okay. I was just say it's a lone graveyard. You did not see anybody else. And from what it looked like, there was a mass grave.
No, there was no one there. It was, unfortunately, just me.
I'm going to try to heal you. And we will see what happens. I can't guarantee anything. And I will attempt a heal.
Okay. Go ahead and roll me your dice to heal.
38. 8 plus 5, 13.
Okay. Vickers, you will heal 13 points of health. The magic does not go away, and the healing goes in absolutely smoothly, totally unaffected. Totally effective and not affected by whatever's going on with his body.
Thank you, Nestor.
With that, we shall cut the camera over to our new group of adventurers, as Zephyr, Razzik, Karrith, and Avaro have managed to get themselves. Did I get the name right?
Carlo.
I thought it was... Yeah,
Carlo.
Carlo. I was about to say.
I think, sorry, Avaro is one from my other game, Avaro Lucerin.
Mm-hmm.
But, and Carlo have managed to get themselves a cart, stealing away from town, and along with Nails, the retired Raven, have begun making their way from Torlay up to Belfont, as Nails instructed you all after an incident in the bar where the constables attacked, killing a bunch of people and worming them almost instantly. Torlay being lost. We need to see the old man. Now inside of a cart, you are getting close to hitting those woods that you remember so well. It's been a bit of travel, and I don't know if you guys want to have any role play between here and the woods. I will leave that up to you guys as a whole.
I'm open to it.
Mm-hmm. And then?
All right.
Oh, I was...
You said you were open to it. I was waiting for you to
I said
start
I'm open to it. I was waiting for other people's votes.
Oh, I was
like,
waiting
I'm
for you
open
to
it. Sorry, I was waiting for people's votes as well, because I was like, if anyone wants to, I'm like, I'm open to it. How about anyone else in that kind of way?
Oh, and then was kind of like my...
And you're as well. Okay.
Yeah.
I think Death asleep.
What?
Up there he is.
Tell him a wonderful story.
I'm sorry.
All good.
I'm still trying to wake up. So.
Go put an ice cube in your butt. You will wake up.
Hard pass.
It slides in so buttery smooth.
No,
Yeah.
it doesn't.
You naughty gamer, you.
Naughty gamer.
No. I deny entry to the ice cube.
Okay. Anyway, Karrith.
All right. Roleplay is fantastic so far. Anyway.
ERP.
So I guess in our travel, instead we have to go and see the old man. I guess I would ask Nails who this old man is.
The old man is somebody who we like to rely on occasionally, but everybody only gets one question. And I'm assuming, Karrith, you're not knowing who he is. Haven't gotten to ask you a question yet. If possible, we can ask the old man, the purveyor of knowledge in the seer, about these worms. The best way to stop them is.
Only
It's
one
not
question,
exactly-
you say?
Only one.
Hmm.
Then again, if I know right, Razzik, you haven't talked to him yet either.
No, I haven't. And I've changed my name. My name is Octavius now.
Octavius it is.
Are we all getting new code names?
No.
Oh. I wanted
It's
a code.
more along the lines of him just shaving his head, I'm sure. Going under a different alias. I nudge at Razzik's
More
shoulder.
along the lines of we're wanted here, so I don't want to be wanted. So I have paperwork that states I'm not that person anymore, and I'd like to stay not that person until we're not wanted. That sounds like a proper way to handle it to me.
Got it.
Yes.
So, Carlo,
Mm-hmm.
how long ago did you try to get into the Tree of Ravens?
Oh, I think it was like, 2 years ago or about.
Man. That would have been at least halfway before I had known. I must have been already on a few quests here and there. Field work was mostly what I did.
Yeah, they said something about my accuracy on the crossbow. I needed to be a more straight shot. Kept missing things. I'm gonna fuck around my crossbow a little bit, kind of wave it around.
I'm gonna definitely stagger my head a little back from you.
Scab will
Perhaps
Scab looks at you and goes, "Oh, we gotta hurdle to the side like this."
like this.
And then fires a loaded crossbow bolt straight into the fucking chair next to you.
I'm gonna fire one and hit the chair across from me as well. It's kind of like an ooh, oops.
all right. Enough of that. Enough of that. All right. Tell you what.
Mm.
First lesson: patience.
Second
Whenever
one.
firing a crossbow, always make sure your shot is going to be placed well. Never fire on suspicion.
I didn't want to hit the chair there. That was an accident.
Thank
Yes.
you, Karrith. I was gonna say the same thing.
Wanted to hit.
And I'm
the
gonna
scale.
swing it around not angry swinging, more and anyway, what'd you say over there? And kind of toward Razzik, what'd you say?
I just open my hand and a ball of fire appears, and I'm like, put that down.
Oh, okay.
Razzik goes to extreme action. Karrith just sitting there knowing the crossbow can only shoot once before it has to reload.
Right. Yeah. It already shot once. We're good.
That's not the danger. It's the behavior. No.
It reminds me of that one scene in fucking, I think it was Lethal Company or something like that, or Police Force, when the guy fires off the shotgun and then spins around with the shotgun still pointed at everybody, and everyone hits the deck except for the gun nut who's just sitting like this. It's a double-barreled shotgun. It can only be shot once.
Mm-hmm.
Tackleberry.
I love Tackleberry. Anyway,
Yeah,
scene.
I like Police Academy.
And then I think, at that point, he, after things settle down with everyone getting a little rambunctious there, he takes a moment to kind of look ahead and see how far out of travel they have until they can get to Belfont.
It's a few days' travel to Belfont. Torlay to Belfont is roughly 7-8 days. But given the roads are currently in Exodus, and the weather is looking nice, you're going to be there in a good time.
Okay. I relay that information, and I kind of give a bit of a huddle down to Carlo and Octavius. Just let them know, hey, if there's anything you need to prepare, best time to do it now. Take the rest you need. And then I think I'm going to stay watch alongside Nails.
Okay. I'm gonna go make some scrolls and then pass out.
I'm gonna
All right.
eat a honey stick. I'm gonna offer some of the scabs, and be like, "You're pretty good with that crossbow, right?
The bust.
Cool. You can help me get better with my aim here, because I don't think these guys like it when I shoot the chairs."
Well, it's okay. We cross bolts, so we're like brothers now.
Ah. We're bolt cousins.
Oh my god.
Bolt bros.
Oh, you're... oh.
We get closer and closer to the woods and finally break through the tree line. And as we do, I'm gonna roll something real quick. You know it. I know it. Let's see it. All right. And on the way past, you'll see a scab perks up a little bit and starts sniffing the air. And you notice a little bit off of the path. If I can get a perception check from the group, whoever's driving.
Oh, that's not me. I don't drive. I'm not old enough.
Making scrolls.
Character's only like 17.
Yeah, I'll get a roll here in a second.
Oh, you can start
Good.
driving a car as early as 14. You're all right.
Yeah, he just didn't get his license or his permit.
The hell are those?
He was more concerned with sitting in his loft, smoking wacky weed, listening to the 4 bards.
Okay. That will be 25.
25. You'll see the scab is perking up, kind of taking in the smell of the forest, all the new scents of the flowers and the trees.
That was
And
my
as you're
fart.
looking, and the fart that Carlo has let out, and as you're taking a look around, you will notice that there is a shallow dug grave. Dirt recently disturbed along, like back in the woods, where somebody wouldn't really be able to see or look.
Hey, can we hold up here?
Yeah, no worries. Nails will pull the wagon and slow the horses down. They'll clip-clop to a stop.
I hop off the carriage and I start heading towards that shallow grave off the side.
All right. And as you get over to the shallow grave, one of the first things you will begin to notice is that there are worms wriggling around in the dirt. All of them with their heads peeking out, trying to wiggle around inside of the dirtied up area. But none of them leaving the dirt or trying to find home back in it. These are the same worms that you would have seen covering the knoll corpses when you were in here last time. The same worms that were inside you and Nyphix.
Would I have recognized those things based on being in town and seeing them possibly like wiggling out of corpses and stuff?
Yep.
Don't touch those. Don't touch them.
I
They'll make
wasn't-
you a smiler.
I wasn't going to. I wasn't even aware you followed me, to be honest, Carlo.
I'm very, very sneaky.
As I see. I kind of kneel down and I look around a little bit. Is there a way I can like inspect how hastily this grave was made?
Yeah, you could roll a nature check or a survival check.
Okay.
All right.
Well, survival's 0, and I don't think I have anything in nature.
Still higher than the DC I was going to give you.
Okay.
Nyphix, how well did you dig the grave?
Depends.
It's important.
I was in a.
It's important. I'm asking for a friend.
I was in a slight hurry, so
Okay.
probably not that well.
So it's definitely not a 6-foot grave. Definitely looks hurriedly picked over. Whoever made the grave didn't bother to put any of the grass or anything back upright to hide the body. And what's more is, as you're inspecting it, the worms are moving around in the dirt, but the dirt seems to be breathing.
I take my dagger out and I start like more like putting like the blade enough so I can start like pushing layers of dirt away.
All right. Top or bottom? Top. As you dig layer after layer after layer of this dirt away, trying to find where the body is or what might be in here, eventually you see teeth shaped in a grin, and you hear a woman's voice chuckling. There's dirt encrusted in her white teeth, and she starts trying to pull her head out as you're scratching through the dirt. And as the dirt falls off of her face, you see her eyes are wide open. And Razzik, in the cart, you recognize the girl that you held hostage to get us to get the group out.
Oh, isn't it wonderful how things are so circular? Bringing us back to revisit past fuck-ups. I'm like, step back, please. Step back. Wait for them to move out of the way. And then I blast it with a spike of cold ice.
All right. And Karrith and Carlo, do you move back?
I
They
think-
don't move back. I don't shoot.
Okay, go ahead.
I was gonna like jump back and hit the deck.
Okay, I was just more just gonna pivot back because I know I was crouched down, so I was gonna just pivot back a little bit.
And shoot a crossbow bolt into the ground.
I feel,
Ah!
I feel. Would have Karrith have recognized her too?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, by the way, if I ever say I shoot a crossbow bolt in one of those joking situations, I'm picking it back up.
Got you.
Because I'm going to run out of them really quick if I
Right,
don't have
right
that
when you need 'em.
specified. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I just pivot back and shove away.
Okay. So as you pivot back and as Carlo jumps back, Razzik pops off the wagon, raises his hand to summon the ice spear, and the bolt slams into the ice as Carlo wiggles it out and removes it. And the woman is now frozen in time, a grin on her face, staring at the people who were unearthing her. Looks like one of them got a bit far away from town, huh? Why are they still everywhere? They're even out in the forest. What did you people do here? Says Zapper.
Yeah, well, nothing went the way we wanted it to go. Nothing. And it seems to stay on that track. Anyway,
I can see that.
Is that enough to put that thing down now?
Yep.
Okay, well, cool.
On
I'll go back to what I
closer,
was doing without another word.
on closer inspection, am I able to see anything like wounds on her?
That would, I'd say, give me a heal check on that one.
Okay.
Heal or survival.
There's that 3. I knew the 3 was coming. I guess in this point of view, you already have it iced. It's like practically looking at 14 layers of glass at this point. I'm just like,
And the worms heal up things as they bend
Right.
them.
yeah. So it's like I just shake my head and going like,
You will, however, notice that her lips are blue. Like, she was just starting to revive.
Right. All right, let's get moving. Back on the carriage.
As everybody piles back on, Nails will whip the horses and get them back into motion. As you continue your vestige into Torlay, or into Belfont. But one of the things that you do note as you're wandering through the woods, the Knoll camps have moved. And the woods, where normally some craziness and wildness, and wild nature would typically be present, the woods themselves are eerily quiet, almost as if nature was watching. But for what? With that, for whom, we'll transition back to Vickers and Nyphix. Vickers, you are now completely healed up, whether through rest or through Nyphix. That doesn't sound right. That sounds better. And you've now started to assess some of the damage, what could be done, and what the next moves need to be. Maybe even the day of incident. What does the conversation turn to between you?
Probably discuss if there's a possibility of allies around and kind of bring him up to speed on how just kind of Belfont fell in general, turned against the Ravens, and how everything fell apart.
Sounds like a nightmare.
Sorry, I was closing the door. Well, considering Malik decided that stabbing you in the back and doing whatever it was he did with our last mission was the best course of action.
He was in it for money. It was something I argued with him day in, day out, that's not what we do.
Yep. Sounds like somebody else I've been arguing with a lot lately.
What makes you say that?
Here nor there. Hopefully their journey is changing their mind.
Oh,
Think
Nate
we
died.
lost Nate.
we did lose Nate.
So it's at that point, Nyphix, you look up into the sky, and through an area of roof that is no longer there, you see a drake. And he's got a construction hat on, and he's holding in his talons a burlap bag full of boulders. And it looks like he's trying to do some construction, but man, he's really terrible at his job. Those rocks might fall at any time.
I don't know what happened there. I apologize.
You're good.
I was making
Just a random Drake. Just
I was making a rock fall and everybody dies joke.
That's hilarious.
I got it.
Hilarious.
Just
I'm
down
sorry.
it goes.
So
Session.
yeah, I'll re-ask my question then, which was so I take it there was arguments between all of you.
Well, that's all it's been.
That's all it's been.
Yeah. We all woke up that day in jail. Considered enemies of the crown, I believe is what it was worded as.
And all this because of what Malik decided. Is that what we believe?
What we were told. We were traitors. And that's why our brothers lay around us in ash.
There has to be more reason to it. I don't know what arguments you all have been having, but it's something you can all see each other through.
And that's
I
why
take it
you
you were
see
the
me
lead.
here.
So then I take it you've been the lead.
No. There's been no lead. Not a single one of us can do it.
What makes you think that?
Because every single time one of us tries, there's a fight, we fail, something happens. Nobody can agree. So, I've decided that since the ravens have been flying blind with no place to land, it's time we had a place to land.
And you believe this will fix the argument?
See? It's either die trying or not try at all.
Okay. I get it. There was a lot of trifling times I've had, especially with Tanisha. She was a middle-aged tiefling. She was very good at what she did. And one of the biggest arguments we ever had was more about how we went about things. I had to try to see it her way. I sometimes had to bite my tongue. She may have heeded results, but it was something that I couldn't quite agree with. I brought this up to her many times. And she would meet me with hard-headedness, you know what I mean? And sometimes it felt like the conversation got nowhere. But I didn't realize that she grew up with nobody. The only voice she ever had was her own. So any other voice was an invader in her mind. As soon as I understood that, I realized silence was actually what helped our relationship. I didn't have to say anything. She just had to look at me and understand what I felt. It didn't change her ways, but it definitely made her think twice. It's not easy being able to just stand by and watch everything burn. But if a fire never starts, we'd have never had fire to begin with. Everything's about patience. Always has been. So, whether this argument is group breaking, or maybe it's just stowing a fire until the smoke leaves. That's why patience is important. Maybe if I was a little more patient with Malik, maybe he would have understood, but I was caught up in the heat of the moment. I was watching my children fall into a sleep I didn't know they were going to wake up from. He had me in a corner. And I lashed out like a dog. It took so much of me to make sure to drop my sword down and only hold a shield between me and him. That's where patience failed me for the first time. I don't know why I'm here. Necessarily, I really don't. I keep feeling the heart in my chest thrum, and I barely believe it. I can't even remember where I was when it all went black. Was there anything, or if I was in the embrace of some deity? I don't know. I don't know if it means anything. But Malik is doing this for money, which means there's somebody else. And if they have anyone or anything to do with it, it's Titus's men. Before I lost consciousness, I saw their armor, and I recognized the motifs on them. Titus Harbless has something to do with this.
You think they're what, behind the infestation? The takedown of the ravens? Behind what?
I think the takedown of the Ravens was somebody had to take the fall. Something is being used here. That relic must hold something far greater than I expected it to be. I start gripping my left arm a little bit, and I start thinking about the dog that was biting into my arm.
What? What's
Shadowfire.
Shadowfire?
I stand up and I start pacing a little bit over to the sun. Those dogs, they were shadow fire.
And Nyphix, you'll recount back to the dogs in the warehouse. Unlike the ones in the ruins, they were shadow hounds whose primary attack was flame.
Nice.
Compared to ice.
What about the Shadow Hounds, Vickers?
It was the fact that they were even there. It was a storage facility. I just can't understand what kind of magic would be practiced that way to be using them. It doesn't make sense. It's as if they were expecting it. Comms would have knew everything. At least something. Did you get in connection with comms? Anything further from him?
Well, Malik and Comms were working together.
And Kurtz as well.
Of course.
You don't think Karrith is with them, do you?
No. Why would he be?
Well, Malik trained him.
Karrith has given me no reason to think that he was with him. None.
Then I'm trying to understand the angle. Doesn't make sense. Why would he be the only one left alive?
Why leave us alive then, Vickers? Why wouldn't he have killed the three of us there?
I don't know. Maybe it's the short stop in my mind right now, but I'm second guessing almost everything they did. I just feel this compulsion that we need to just all be together and figure this out, and I don't know why. This is definitely larger than just us.
And Nyphix, do you still have your detect magic up?
Yes.
As Captain Vickers made that comment, you saw the magic inside of his muscles and veins pulse for a split second.
As he said that we needed to all be together.
Yep.
Almost like it was agreeing.
Yeah, in a way. Like a nod.
I'm not too certain. Just what I feel.
I think Duality's trying to say he's sounding wormy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. that's Nyphix. If Nyphix had seen, like, I'm thinking going, Nyphix would have watched that and gone, no, we're really not going to get together now. That's literally what's going through Nyphix's mind exactly right now, having seen that.
I will keep you in mind. There are no worms in his body.
No, I know, but just the way that she's dealt with the worms the first time, and having dealt with the worms the second time, and having been able to control them, and just the way that they talked. And then now we're dealing with whatever this is. And the fact that it was all like, oh, hey, look, we're going to shine just a little bit brighter and going, oh, yeah, let's get together and, like, you know, kumbaya around a campfire. Nyphix is going, I don't know about that one.
I just need, because we have this soundboard of all this stuff over here, and I mean, duck, but I need one of Duality going, sounds really wormy. Sounds
Right.
really fucking wormy.
Sounds pretty wormy.
I'm
Yeah.
feeling the worms, man.
So I'm trying to wrap my brain around a few things here. But Nyphix is gonna she's gonna look at Vickers. And she's gonna ask him, just, you keep mentioning Titus's seeing their armor. They weren't there during the mission. So how? When did you remember seeing it?
I can't quite recall, but I remember feeling the awkwardness of the stairs behind me as I laid back. And I remember as things were getting darker, I just remembered hearing their steps, and I just barely came to. I could just see their armor. Who knows, maybe even if this was an outer body experience, I know I saw they come in and they were taking us out. They took all of us out. They had to have come in after. But that's something. It's the only thing I got. He kind of grips a little more to his head and just tries to think a little more. And just keeps replaying in my head, Nestor. It really does.
How close would that potion shop be from where we're at? That the twins were at, that Eelix was like buddy with.
The galaxy vial is probably about a half a mile from here. Actually, I'd say probably a quarter mile. Not long. Bellefont's a massive place.
I know we left there in decent standings. Good standings last time I knew.
You did them a favor. A solid.
We did. Seeing that Vickers continues to kind of touch his head, Nyphix is gonna kind of tell a semi-white lie.
Oh no. First ones.
And she's gonna tell him that we're gonna go and talk to some allies that we made just up the street, to get him some medication for what to be his head. We're gonna take a trip,
Just come
quote
with me.
unquote.
Come with me out back. It'll be fine. No worries.
Yeah,
Don't do the dance, boy.
we're
Just-
gonna take a trip. Just
Come
don't
on,
mind the
we'll
type
go
of trip.
to the backyard.
Tell me what you see around that horizon there, Lenny.
Just
All right.
we're gonna go get you some medication. We're gonna take a trip.
Okay.
See if we can't, get through this mental block.
All right. So, with that said, you guys will take some time and begin heading to the Galaxy Vial, and I'm going to move the other party closer to us. You have crested out the woods on the other side. Your trek, while a bit unnerving, has been an easy one. And soon, you find yourself coming upon a guard. There is a contingent that is currently guarding me. We are now at the day and a half till we get to Belfont itself, and you will see that there is a contingent of guard. They look like they had a wagon of some sort, and that there are people who are being unloaded from said wagons. These people are no longer with us. They are people who you actually, some of which, recognize for your stint in prison. And outside of the town, you will see them begin making little graves to bury these prisoners, so that they can move them from the city and bury them out away from anywhere where they would be of any harm if something were to come. But for what purpose? Necromancers would find them a lot easier out here than they would in town, which is one of the first things that Nails will end up saying as we are getting closer. Do you want to interact with this contingent of gods?
I stay in the wagon and sleep.
I'm too new. So
Yeah.
Mhm.
I
I'm-
think. Well, go ahead.
Hmm?
No, go ahead.
Oh no, I didn't say anything. I was drinking.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were about to say something. That's all.
He was saying,
Got you. Got you. I was more because I know Karrith definitely would try to understand what's going on with that reason. But I understand we're trying to be a little more incognito. So I think he's just gonna allow it to carry on. But if I may, I'm gonna just try to overlook and see if there's anything I can identify or catch on to.
go ahead and roll me a perception check.
Watch this beautiful 3, guys. Okay. At least that is a 24.
All right. One of the things that you do notice on the people who are going in, their bodies seem weirdly shiny, as if they were dipped in something upon death. Some type of a wax or a resin.
Okay. That's interesting.
Could be a weird preservation technology, but it's unfamiliar from what you've seen in the past.
Yeah.
It's
At least
kind of new.
at least from what I'm trying to think from Karrath's point of view, is seeing that kind of thing. I wonder if that would that kind of sheen, whether it would be something to help lure worms in, or to deter worms from even entering these bodies. Like as if they're just test subjects to see if they could do something. That's kind of like the thought process going through his head.
All right. And with that, we will push you a wee bit further up, but I will hold on to this little bit of information until we move forward with our scene on the other side, because I've slowly got to start bridging this gap. Vickers and Nyphix, you've now found yourself at the Galaxy Vial with the twins. And they greet you as you wander in. Both of them seem to as well be unwormed.
It would kind of suck if they were.
Still dressed in the red and blue outfits that you are familiar with. Though at current, they are dressed with masks on. They both have a fox mask on their face. One is entirely wearing hers, and the other one has hers pulled off to the side of her head. The redhead has hers pulled off to the side. The blue-haired has hers fully on. And you hear them both as they're, "Welcome to the Galaxy Vial."
Well, I don't know if you remember me by chance. We were here a while back. Helped you recover a certain statue.
And you'll watch as the blue-haired one points to the golden statue of the dragon. "Yeah, we remember. It wasn't terribly long ago for us."
Awesome.
And the redhead one proceeds to wander up to you, and Nyphix goes, "But the last time you were in here with a group."
They're hopefully on their way. Not quite sure how long they'll be, but hopefully we'll be here eventually. However, looking to pick up a certain potion that was used last time. Looking to use it again.
"Oh, what potion's that?"
One to help recover memory.
Well, we could bring you to the rooms.
That might be helpful. Maybe. Let me put it to you 100% just put it to you flat. Square. However you like it. Was dead, back from the dead. Not quite sure how. Trying to figure out how.
Nyphix.
Hmm.
Is this really necessary?
Yes.
All right.
Considering everything that we've been through for the past month and a half, you would 100% understand. And considering the fact that I have died twice and come back twice, I think you'd agree.
I feel like that would have at least come up in the conversation back at the Tree of Ravens, but glad to hear it now. But I guess I at least half understand that. I myself am back.
Yeah, except the only difference between you and I is I remember why and how. And there definitely was not a month and a half difference.
True.
All right. And with that, the girls will open up the back rooms to allow you in. And as the room door opens to allow you back into the hall, it weirdly feels as though you've walked through the door and through pudding. And as you get onto the other side, the blue-haired girl that was escorting you, Kana, is gone. And it's just this hallway of doors, very familiar to you, Nyphix. The same one that you guys had seen when you had ran into the Galaxy Vial before, when you were able to roam. As you wander through this area, you'll notice that the hallway seems to be dripping from the top corners. Almost a little bit of a blackened ichor, but with the consistency of water. And it's dripping throughout the whole of the hallway. The very end door, which is like there's 3 doors on the left, 2 doors on the right, and a door straight down the center. This seems to have underneath it vines growing out and extending down the hallway as like a walkway. The other doors lay barren.
Okay. Nyphix is just kind of look back at Vickers and go, well, Captain, guess that looks like our door.
All right.
And she's gonna go ahead and walk up down the hallway and towards the door.
Okay. Nyphix, roll me a will save.
Please, no threes.
It's Nyphix. She rolls 2s.
Right? No, yeah. No, I roll those 1s and 2s. What are you talking about? Funny enough, that's 14 plus 8.
Okay.
So, damn. There we go.
With that, as you wander closer to this door and proceed to get past the bramble and thorns on the side, you'll hear whispering voices. They don't make any sense listening to you, but you hear the hushed. And the door creaks open. And as you step through into that voided area of negative space, it begins to paint in front of you. The scene that it paints is a graveyard and a tree with no leaves. There are crows that hang in the trees, but they are dead. Each and every single one of them. With the exception of 4. With those 4 ravens being in the tree, you will watch as they split apart, with 3 going in one direction and 1 leaving the tree entirely. As that one moves to the other side of the branches and flies out of the tree, eventually it will the 3 that stayed will all shift to the left side of the tree and begin hopping and moving around. And soon, from an area of the tree where these birds began picking up little twigs and branches, they make a nest, and another egg spawns, hatching inside of the tree. There are now 4 birds on that tree, and an older raven, much more discolored than the rest. It's gray, now tainting its feathers, will land on the tree once more on the left side as well, and joins them as they frolic and dance about. Cut to the right side of the tree, and that raven that flew off will land. And upon landing, it'll move to the ground, slowly and surely, dancing down each and every branch. As it lands at the edge of the tree, you'll watch as the space starks white and from the base of the tree, a shadow begins to grow and expand. The raven looks on curiously at this expanding area of shadow. And soon, a head begins to appear from the shadow, walking towards that other raven. That head begins to grow eyes, a beak, a neck, shoulders, feathers, wings, and now stands, grayed like the other raven in the tree, but the black of its feathers significantly darker. You'll see this scene begins to lose way as flame begins to overtake the entirety of the scene. Ash drips from right to left. And before you know it, you see Belfont, the city as a whole, on fire. There are people being slain in the streets, people trying to fight their best against an invasion of their own kind, of people covered in dark, grinning as they cut people down. A scene cuts to outside of Belfont's walls, and you will see the ravens from the left side of the tree have managed to get to the city walls in a cart. And Razzik, Karrith, and Eelix, outside of those city walls, you see two bodies hanging from the parapets of the guard towers. Those bodies are familiar to you. They belong to Kurtz and Comms. What do you do?
They look like they got what they deserved.
Is everything all right, Nestor?
In a minute.
Yeah, that doesn't mean it kind of it answers how you're here, but it also answers why certain someone welcomed me to the city.
You believe it to be some form of prophetic prophecy of some sort, or
The hell of a prophecy, that's for sure.
but you're not wormed? How would you be in any aid of this?
Nyphix kind of stands there and she at that point I think she's going to take a couple of steps into the room itself and kind of looks around, kind of like a somber tone, having witnessed all that. And then turns and looks at Vickers and goes, well, definitely looks like we'll be having a homecoming. Just not quite the one we were expecting.
Then what's your plan?
Back to the tree.
Okay. Lead the way.
All right. Nyphix, as Vickers leaves the room, you turn back to see that scene. You see the birds from the left conjoining and meeting again with the birds on the right. And as that scene hits at a burned down building, you'll watch as the building goes up in flames once more. The door opens back to the outside world, and as you step forward, you will see that the two girls are currently missing, no longer in the room. And the scene outside, aside from the starlit carpet beneath you, has changed. Rain is now falling, and time has shifted. The doorway itself does not feel like pudding. Looking at the clock on the wall, it's a lot earlier than you walked in here at. You both get the benefits of a long rest. And cutting back to the outside group with Carlo's one-liner of "it looks like they got what they deserved," you now find yourself on the same timed path. How does Karrith's group want to enter into the city?
I guess we could converse with the group a little bit. Do we try to like split off a little bit, or do we just make sure to stay all in one place and make through with the carriage?
Repeat that?
I said, do you want us to either split off somewhere, like, you know, two of us split off the carriage and then the other two and Scabs like venture into it another way so that we're not all congregating in one direction?
Yes, splitting might be the best for the party.
No, I was just saying, I want to know what your thoughts are instead of just me leading it. That's why I said, what would you guys suggest?
As me being the Crimson Zephyr, I could go in first and scout the city out for everybody and make sure we're good, as long as I know where you're going. As long as I know where we're all meeting up.
I'm just gonna go with my Bolt brother Scabbers here, and we're gonna, and I'm gonna like wave my crossbow, like do like the tink over with the crossbow, like fist bump it with them.
Yeah. The crossbows fire off into the air and
Shit. Oops.
Jesus.
I'm gonna put another bolt in it right away.
Hopefully we don't hear a Wilhelm scream when it finally comes down to the ground.
Ow, my head.
The arrows will trail from a bit, and then you just hear.
Oops. That wasn't mine. That was somebody else's.
All right, maybe it's best you guys stick with us. Octavius? I nudge his shoulder as he snores.
Looks like
Octavius?
it looks like he's falling asleep in the back of the wagon. We can carry him in.
I'm going to poke him with a bolt.
Put an ice cube in his butthole.
Ooh. Ooh, somebody give me an ice pop.
I don't know if any of that's going to rouse the player.
I'm going to hide food in his mouth.
Mouth.
Hey, Death, fart yourself awake.
What?
Is there like a
What do you
buzz
mean,
button?
mouth?
Oh, I saw it light up.
Yeah, it's blinking with his breaths.
There's got to be a way to like send an electric jolt through this thing when he falls asleep. We could just like... God,
Death!
I know a dominatrix that had those chassis.
There we go.
Buzzer on it.
We just
All right.
needed to
Just-
peek the mic there.
Wakey,
Yeah, a little bit.
wakey. Eggs and bakey. You okay?
I'm just struggling.
Yeah, we-
I'm very tired.
Yeah.
But I'm good.
Oh, good.
Bro,
Do you need me to carry you in?
I'm
Yeah,
gonna be real with you,
actually, shit.
bro. Real talk. If you're in a lot of pain and you need to go to sleep, it's okay. You can miss a session, and we will totally catch you up next session.
You can be a cardboard
I don't want-
standee.
I don't want you to torture yourself to play.
I'm not. It sounds like I'm hurting myself right now. I swear I'm not hurting. I'm just really, really tired. I didn't even realize we had a session today. I thought it was next week, so I was like 5 hours of sleep. Not good for me. That sounds like a lot for some people. I know that. I am in no way normal by anybody's comparison to anybody.
That's for damn sure.
I am a virgins. All right.
Okay.
Something not intended.
Okay.
And I'm just dragging ass. That's all that's wrong with me. Just dragging ass. But I'm here. I'm not gonna back out. We only got like another hour maybe, and I'll be fine.
We haven't encountered any dragons yet. How is their ass?
Not to give you any more ideas, but I'm sure that's only just a matter of time.
But all right. So
Then-
to catch you up on what you possibly missed, you guys are now at the city wall, and as you look up at the parapets of the guard towers, there's little posts that come out, and hanging from those posts, you see Kurtz and comms.
Motherfucker.
And the team is currently talking about how they're planning on getting into the city.
I will study necromancy. Bring them back from the dead only so I can kill them again myself.
Perhaps we should start thinking more about defensive measures. We are going into Belfont after all. I
That's why I
pull
was
at your
thinking,
hood a little bit.
Yes, I'm not excited to be back here. Honestly, this is a place of bad things now.
Yeah, but this is at least where Nyphix is.
Well,
We'll
we
at least be able to regroup. Make plans there. Carlo, you know where the Tree of Ravens is, are?
I'm sorry, I missed that little last part.
I said, Carlo, you know where the Tree of Ravens are, correct?
This for Carlo.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know who you were talking to. I'm like, I got distracted for a moment there.
Whose name's who? Octavius, Razzik,
Yeah, and then you're talking with two different characters, and I'm like, Hence my
Sorry,
earlier, my first, looks like they got what they deserved. Okay,
Yeah.
do I know where the Tree of Ravens are? Like the building?
Yeah, like you.
Yes, I do know where the Tree
Okay.
of Ravens building is. Okay, so that was for me. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So if we do happen to lose track of each other, we're all meeting there.
Okay. That's the rendezvous point. Gotcha.
Yep.
And I'm going to kind of salute with my, I'm going to keep the gag going. Thunk.
Yeah, I'm practically as soon as you salute, I make sure it goes a little more over your head so the bolt's not next to your temple. Like,
Yeah.
all right.
All right. So with that, we will keep with Karrith and Razzik on their way in. Are you guys just going straight to the the Tree of Ravens?
I think I'm going to make a little bit of a detour to Jezza, like her place. Make sure
Um,
she's okay. Or is she not within Belfont?
she is within Belfont, but she doesn't have a home here that you know of. So she'd be.
At least her shopkeep, though.
I don't even think she would have had time to set up a shop yet.
Okay.
She would have gotten here as the refugees. You'd be probably a week and a half behind her. So she'd be getting permits at this point. Probably hooked up in
Gotcha.
a tavern somewhere.
Got you. Okay.
We can go tavern questing. Yeah.
I just like maybe just in a half-heartedly way of just like looking around because I know I left her with a lot of things, kind of unknown things, at least what was going on, and wanted to at least figure if she made any advances.
All
But
right.
other than that, I'm just going to continue my way towards the Tree of Ravens.
Okay. So as they head towards the Tree of Ravens, Nails will be with you guys as well. Nyphix, are you going back to the Tree of Ravens with Captain Vickers?
I know that I do want to take Vickers back to the Tree of Ravens.
Uh-huh.
At least. That's where I'm going to start off. At least getting back to the Tree of Ravens and getting Vickers back there. Just at least with the everything that she just witnessed inside the room, kind of going over it in her head at the moment. Quick question though, the being or shadow raven, the larger one that kind of came up out of the floor, did that by any chance, did that look like the one that she had seen in the other planes?
Back to the Temple of Elements.
Yeah.
Yeah, had a very similar notion to it.
Okay. Well, she's going to go ahead and she's going to go back to the Tree of Ravens for now. And sit for a little bit while she plates.
All right. So Vickers and Nyphix will go back to the Tree of Ravens with some new knowledge in mind. And within a bit of time, we've lost Zephyr. Zephyr's now roaming the town, and everyone will begin slowly packing their way towards the Tree of Ravens. With that said, I'm going to ask Carlo if there's anything he would like to do on the way to the Tree of Ravens, as you are basically not noticeable in this town.
No, I'm just gonna go. Like, there's nothing. He's just trying to hang out with his new buddies and be a raven for a change, because he didn't get that chance last time because somebody didn't like the way he handled the crossbow.
So you and Scab are wandering through ways, hiding under cardboard boxes, moving through streets. You stealth killed a guy. It was cool. And soon you will find yourself at the Tree of Ravens, standing outside of it, as will Razzik and Karrith. And you will see that there is a cross with the captain's pendant hung over it with a light spell that has ended. It'll end as you're coming up. And, well, actually, it would have ended a while ago. Light spells in Pathfinder don't last that long.
No, they don't.
Yeah. So you'll just see the necklace hanging on the 10 minutes per level on the cross. And with that, I will pass it one last time over to Nyphix and Captain Vickers before they are intruded on by the rest of the group, if there is anything else they would like to do.
I think as Nyphix is kind of sitting there, finally kind of deducing everything that she had seen. I think she's going to look at Vickers and tell him to wait here. And kind of just, she's going to look at him and go, I need you to wait here. It's going to come as a shock to the rest of the party whenever they arrive, if they arrive. I don't know when. They're not going to trust you the same as I did. So be prepared.
All right. I understand.
But someone's got to be here.
Okay. Just let me know.
But I think there is... I think there might be...
There might be.
Real space.
Yeah. So,
Gotcha.
So I think I'm gonna leave you here to meet with them and see if I can't find this person to meet up with.
All right.
And I think Nyphix is actually going to head out.
Okay. And Nyphix, as you open the door and close it behind you, you take a look at the alleyway down the way where you had flew down the last time you were here and saw and got Vickers' necklace off of him. And across the way, you will see your old party. And a couple of new additions, or one new addition of Carlo. They picked up a straggler.
Nyphix.
I think before she actually says anything, knowing what she's getting ready to do, she's going to leave.
Okay, like just runs off.
Yeah, she's going to take off.
I chase after her. Nyphix!
I climb down out of the wagon, look at the situation, and it's like, oh, I'm sure that means good things, clearly. And wander back towards the tree.
That's going to be an interesting one.
All right. So Razzik is heading into the Tree of Ravens. Carlo, what about you?
gonna head in.
All right. So we will let Karrith and Nyphix run off together as Nyphix tries to outrun Karrith. And Razzik and Carlo are going to be the ones that we stick with as the door opens to the Tree of Ravens. And Captain Vickers, what are you doing inside?
I think I just check in to see if Nestor's there.
And as you
And-
peek your head out, you will see the familiar face of Razzik. And isn't that a recruit from a few years ago?
Razzik.
The second I lock eyes with him, fireball. What the fuck is going on in here? You're dead.
Are we
Cast
actually
detect
fireballing, or is that
no, just
temporary?
readiness. Cast detect magic.
And Razzik, as you cast detect magic, he is unwormed.
That's not the only kind of problem one could have in this situation. I'm looking real hard, focusing to try to learn and figure out what's animating his corpse.
How far away are you? Because range is important.
I mean, I'm not sure the dimensions inside the building. I suppose not far, 10, 15 feet, 20 feet.
Okay. I mean, it's really however close you want to be. The building is subjective.
Yeah, I mean, probably 10 feet is fine. Splash radius and all.
At 15 feet, you would notice that there seems to be magic moving between his muscles and tendons. It's really docile. It's not really doing much else other than maneuvering through his body.
Razzik, I'm gonna have to ask you
the
calm
magic-
down.
And the
Nyphix
magic
said that you
itself-
would be alerted.
The magic itself doesn't seem to have a school.
Generalist magic? I look him in the eyes and I'm like, what is happening here? Explain how you're alive.
You're just as at the same place as Nyphix was with me.
No.
I just know I woke up
Burn
and
you
dug
to
myself
death.
in.
So, explain how you're alive.
From what I remember, Razzik, I dug myself out of a grave when I gained consciousness. I don't know how, and I don't know when. That is all I remember. Nyphix said you would be alerted like this.
You don't have any idea how alerted we have to be now. It is awful. So,
She told me a lot about it.
Yeah, I hope so. Pardon my reaction, but too many terrible and weird things have happened.
And it does seem like to involve life and death. I am aware.
Well, that's good. At least you're caught up. I'll let the fire die down.
All
And
right.
he gently puts his hands back down to his hips with a bit of a sigh, like,
What hand were you using for the fireball?
Right. Ice comes out the left.
Okay. All I needed to know.
Yes, sir. So, it's really good to see you, man. It's been a harrowing couple weeks.
I'm sure it has
Yeah.
been hearing that it's been definitely putting all of you on edge. And I am aware that my absence seems to have failed you in more ways than I expected.
In no way is it your fault. I would, however, like to catch the nasty little worm who hung Calms and his buddy outside the city because I would like to have killed them myself.
Calms and Kurtz are dead.
Yeah, hung from the city wall. Which I have to assume was done on purpose.
the guards. Was it the guards that were doing it? Did you
I
get
mean,
a look at their armor?
I didn't see who was hanging them or any. I just saw them already hanging. They weren't being hung. They were hanging.
I have great suspicion that Titus Arbalest has something to do with this.
Who?
So as long as we have that information between you and I, so that we can understand what's our next motive.
Carlo, you'll recognize the name Titus Arbalest as the Emperor of Esil.
Okay.
So to add to our troubles now, we have a plague of magic demonic worms that are absolutely awful. We're wanted criminals, and now we have to overthrow the emperor. I don't even know where to begin with that. How does one even begin to conceive of a plan that won't get us killed? Lots of people throughout history have killed emperors and kings. Almost no one gets away with it.
I know. Right now, it's more along the line that we need to make sure he is brought to justice.
How does one even bring an emperor to justice when it's from his power that justice comes? All the activities in this kingdom are done with his seal. All right, you can't just kill an emperor like that. You can't just bring him to justice. You can't just turn him in. They won't listen to us. So laugh in our faces, and then he'll hear about it and have us killed. And I don't think we'll come back from that. So, in my opinion, I think we should gather our possessions, take everything and everyone that we care about, and leave this place forever. Because
But that doesn't stop the
issue.
issue. We know that, Razzik.
I'm sorry. I'm just, my mind is spinning. I put my hand to my head and just kind of this is a lot. Maybe too much. It's funny, if there are gods out there and they do give a shit about us, they don't really seem to show it.
Well, we're going to take our time as much as we can. All this is very much new to me as well, Razzik.
Sure.
Patience is going to be key here.
I guess the real question is, do you remember anything from when you were dead? Anything at all? Because that could give us some sort of insight.
That's as much as I know. When they took the relic after Malik executed me, I remember Titus Arbalest's men, the motifs on their armor. They were the one that did up a lot of the clean work after everything was said and done. That is all I know. Nyphix took me to the Galaxy Vial to figure something out. But it seems like she gained her own resolve. And then she told me to wait outside. It's as if she didn't want me to see any of you. Now I understand her reason. She seemed shocked when she first seen me, and so did you.
You may want to brace yourself. I have the strangest feeling that Karrith will be the worst of the bunch. Anyway, so this is Carlo. We're gonna call him a new recruit. He tested a while back when we were still a tree and everything, and it didn't work out. But in this point, I think we're on emergency recruitment, so we're taking anybody who'll help.
That's me. I'm here to help.
And you'll feel something sniffing the side of you, Vickers. And you see
Alright.
a little orange kobold with a crossbow loaded, shield on his back, and a small short sword on his side. He goes, "Little smell of dirt."
That is Scab. Scab is much better with that sword than he is with that crossbow, but he's a good fellow.
And I take it Nails stayed with the cart, or did he join them?
Nails is currently with the cart, hiding it.
Okay.
But as he's finished hiding it at this point in time, the doors will open once more and will shut. And as he turns and sees you, you watch as he's almost seen a ghost. Then he goes, "Andrew, my old friend, you're standing. I always knew you were a tough son of a bitch." And he'll walk over to you and kind of start looking you over. Would you just pass out for a month?
I'd like to believe that'd be the reason, Nails.
Either way, claps you on the shoulders. It's good to have you back. Gonna need some of that moxie.
Yeah, it's good to be back.
Also, since you're back, let's fix you up a bit. I cast prestidigitation and clean him thoroughly from tip to tail.
And
Now you're
the
not
armor, the blood, and everything else has come off of you. But you still have that scar where Malik had stabbed you.
Can't do much about that. No healer. But
That's alright.
at least you're clean.
Yeah.
It's not going to feel as nice as a hot bath would, I'm sure, but, desperate times and all.
Yeah. I turn back to Nails. You were traveling with Karrith, correct?
I joined the group a bit late. Seemed like they could use some help. But taking them all to see the old man. If anybody knows what's going on with all of this shit, it's gonna be him. I was hoping I can catch Nyphix here. If I'm not mistaken, she has a question she's able to ask too. Between three of us, and if we can anoint these two here, as he points to Scab and Carlo, that's another 2 questions. Might be able to solve something.
Yeah. At least give us some sight or edge. But if Karrith was with you, I know Nyphix left to the tree. She told me to wait back, but she's not here.
Saw her fly off, but I'm not sure where she was going. Karrith gave chase. And with that, I had a couple rolls happen off screen. Nyphix, you are pretty good at keeping to the shadows and staying hidden, and Karrith, you don't lose sight on her. You track her for quite a bit of a distance, but she will manage to get to her location before you manage to catch up with her. And Nyphix, you find sitting on a bench, plain public view, in his purple robes, eating a pretzel, Neil. He's got his leg kicked up, so he's sitting cross-legged, dipping his pretzel in some cheese and putting it in his mouth, and as he his eyebrows kind of raise.
Nyphix will kind of land in front of him, and first thing she'll say is, "You knew this was going to happen eventually, didn't you?"
I don't know what you're talking about. Knew what was going to happen.
That I would make this decision.
Oh, yes. What can I say? Once you get a taste of power, it's really hard to say no, isn't it? Think of all the people you could save, all the things you can help, all the good we can do together. Who'd say no to that? But tell me, little bird, what made you change your mind?
Vision? Prophecy? I don't know. Whatever word you choose to put to it.
See? He stands up, throws his pretzel in the trash can that's sitting next to him, dusts himself off, looks at you and goes, well, I'm waiting. And as he says that, Karrith, you will pull out of the alleyway, and you have a large berth between you, about 130 feet, and see Nyphix talking to Neil.
Nyphix! Why are you running?
Nyphix's eyes will shoot to him, but she doesn't answer him. And then she'll look back at Neil. Look, if we're going to do this now, or at all, now's the best time.
And I'm doing you the favor. What did I say?
She's going to kind of have that look on her face like, are you fucking serious? Like her jaw is going to do that, like she's going to be like sucking her teeth like, okay, fine. What is it that Neil wants to hear?
A simple please.
She
Would I
holds her
start
hand
be-
out.
Would I be able to start doing like a sturdy, increasing pace run to her?
Yep.
Okay.
She holds her hand out. Please, Neil. Have the gift.
Half-hearted, but I'll take it.
Nyphix?
And he starts lowering
Nyphix, what are you doing?
down to yours. And that's where we're going to end the session for today.
No! God! The fuck?
You okay, bud?
Ugh!
No, and neither am I.
What the fuck?
The absolute fuck. Jesus. Alright, well. At this point, we're just killing everybody. We'll just do it. Fuck it, who cares? Kill them all.